All right, I'm Nick. We haven't made a gun video in about 35 days. That's crazy, I know, but Jack and I have both been busy, mostly just going hunting and doing whatever else we wanted to do. The weather changed, our priorities changed a bit, and we've made hunting related content in the past. It doesn't do very well, and it kind of takes away from the channel topic, all right, or the focus of the channel. So we're getting back at it. We're getting back at it starting today, okay? During that 35 duration, we had a ton of comments, people asking where you've been at, stuff like that, or just asking general questions, one of which is, what should I buy for my first gun? And they asked the question based on, hey, you shot a bunch of these guns, you buy these new guns. If you could just go buy a new one today for the first time, what would you buy? And I thought about it a lot because there's a ton of really, really good options, right? So if you tell someone to go out and buy a super small everyday carry for their first gun, well, it's going to be snappy. And they're probably not going to want to go to the range and shoot it because it's an unpleasant experience that they are not used to, right? So tell them to buy something too big, well, now it's big and bulky. They can never carry it, right? And there's just huge range of options. So what do we do as gun owners? We come back to the only logical choice. That's the Glock 19. But we come back to that choice because it is a simple, reliable, effective choice, right? That's it. So comparing it to like going out and buying a kid their first vehicle, you're not going to go out and buy them a race car 9 times out of 10. You're not going to go out and buy them let's say unpractical, is that a word? Impractical? I think impractical is a word. I don't know. I'm not a genius. But you're not going to go out and buy them a car that is not reliable or efficient or fits their situation or their needs, right? So if you're going out to buy a gun for the first time, Glock 19, okay? Or anything else in this class, I would compare a Glock 19, we'll say compact pistol. We're going to compare it to this Echelon right here. This is the Echelon. This is the 4.0C, fantastic pistol. Now, both of these guns have red dots on them. I wasn't going to take them off here for the sake of the video, because I don't want to re-zero. These things are pretty much perfect. I don't want to have any issues with that. These are sedans. These are reliable, easy to use vehicles or guns, right? You got a mag release. You can switch that to left or right depending on if you're left or right handed. You got a slide stop, slide release. You got everything you need right here, right? It's reliable. So we're going to shoot them both today, and there is no wrong choice. Now into this equation we could add guns like the M&P 3.6 polymer. It's the same size gun, same idea, right? But they're both good shooting guns, or all 3 of those guns are good shooting guns. And then don't go out and buy 3 of them. Don't go out and buy all these different guns. Buy ammo and go shoot the gun. And just practice that. Like, you should be able to go to the range instead of buying the most Gucci gun or all these different things. Spend that money on ammo and go out. And every time you pull the trigger, you want those sights to come back into alignment. Obviously, I'm using this red dot, but every time I pull the trigger, the dot comes back to the initial point and I pull the trigger again. You don't want it to look like that and then have no idea. So buy a compact pistol, shoot it. You'll work on your fundamentals. You'll get a good grip. And then down the road, maybe you want to buy a smaller pistol for an everyday carry, and you go out and you buy a 43X, a Glock 43X, or you buy what would you shoot the other day? We shot a Hellcat 380. That's a great little pistol. Doesn't recoil much, but it is tiny, okay? So you do hold the gun differently. And then the idea is you should just be able to point and shoot. Now, I would say this is a Gen 5 Glock 19 MOS version, right? Optic ready. Is it the best option in the world? No. Are there better options? Yeah, we could roll over into this Echelon right here, and the feature set is better. The magazine release is on both sides from the factory. I actually prefer the slide stop slide release because it is easier for me to access with my hands. I like the backstrap system. I like the deeper serrations. There are things that I prefer about this. I actually prefer having this pick rail compared to the Glock setup. Those are just different things. The factory sights on this gun are better than the factory sights on a Glock 19. But those things are super nitpicky, not that important. You want to buy a gun in this class, right? Just a sedan, a simple, effective, efficient car. And you know what? Maybe you were not shopping for our teenage kid that's about to drive a car. Maybe you're looking at a vehicle that an old person needs, because really an old person is not going to do anything crazy your teenager wants to do. They're going to buy a car that's going to be reliable for them forever until they die. This is how it works, right? So we have this gun. We're going to shoot it. I like this gun a lot. This is a fine pistol. That was a terrible trigger pull. And the reason, I come back to this all the time, that you should just buy one gun and shoot it, that trigger pull right over here, the first one on that target, was terrible. Because I'm pretty used to shooting that Glock trigger. And I've said before, my biggest complaint about this gun is the trigger, okay? I would keep it simple. I would buy something in this class, okay? We'll go over it again. Glock 19, Echelon 4.0. I'd stay away from anything that has a comp on it. I just don't think you need it, okay? It's just something else to think about, to overanalyze. M&P 3.6 polymer version. What else? There's a bunch of them. I'm drawing blanks. There's just too many of them, okay? But something in the Glock 19 class, compact pistol, 15 rounds. It's all you need. It's a great way to buy a gun. Buy more ammo and go shoot it, okay? I look forward to reading your guys' comments. We base most of the content that we produced on those comments, okay? So go leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next video.